Hey, you're listening to It Came From the Radio. You might know this is Jennifer Elise Feldman, aka L Man, aka many names, but here we're talking about, well, someone very special. You might know her from Seinfeld, Whitney, Krispy Kreme, TikTok. She's a TikTok star and influencer at 85 years young. And she has a book, The Book of Annie, Humor, Heart, and Chutzpah from an Accidental Influencer. Let's welcome Annie Korzen. Woo! Welcome.
I love that. I love that introduction. Thank you very much.
Well, I freestyled it, so maybe it's from the gods, you know? I don't know. But anyway, let's go right to our first question because this is going to go real fast. Now, you accidentally became an influencer and TikTok star in your 80s. So many people have told me, oh, I'm too old to be online. People in their 30s, 40s, 50s. Okay. So how did you become a sensation on TikTok?
Well, I got to tell you, one of the themes of my book actually is when somebody asks you to do something, your mantra should be, yeah, why not? And that's what happened here. Now, within reason, if somebody asked me to go bungee jumping, I'm not going to say, yeah, why not? But uh, I'm an actor and a storyteller. I like saying my own words. I've done solo shows. And I was talking to a young friend, a 30-year-old friend. I said, gee, I wish I could find a larger audience for myself, for what I have to say. And she said, oh, you should go on TikTok. And I said, TikTok, that's the crazy. Who wants to see me on TikTok? And she said, trust me,
Wow.
you will go viral. And my answer was, okay, yeah, why not? Let's try it. And
Right.
I went viral pretty quickly, but what I'm saying is, I don't regret anything I've done in my life. I only regret the things I didn't do. So I want to encourage people, take a chance, try something. You never know what the outcome is going to be. And because I now have over almost 500,000 followers on TikTok, that's what got me a book deal. So that's how I got to
Oh,
publish the Book of Annie. Uh, that's
okay.
that story.
And we're going to get to that book later in the interview. But first, we're going to go to Seinfeld. Now, how the heck
Oh,
did you book a recurring role on Seinfeld?
you know something? It's funny, Jennifer. It's exactly the same thing that happened. I got a call in 1991 from my agent. He said, look, there's this show. No one ever heard of it. It's just a few lines. And one of his other actresses, who was much better known than I was, she turned it down because she thought, I never heard of the show. It's just a few lines. And I went to my mantra. I thought, yeah, why not? It's a day's work. It's a day's pay. And being on
Right.
that show changed my life. I only did one episode. And when we watched it at night, my husband said, well, what is this? I don't get it. It's not about anything. Famous last words, right? Now he
Right.
watches 2 or 3 episodes a night. But anyway, that small bit part, it was just a bit part, turned into a recurring role of Doris Clompus in the condo.
Mm-hmm.
And then they gave me I played a second character. So I
Mm-hmm.
did two different characters on Seinfeld. And since I started in 1991, I have very few lines. My total lines is maybe 27 lines in the 4 or 5 episodes I did. Since that time, I have earned from that show over $100,000.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
the other actress, I sometimes think about the other actress. She said, no, I don't want to do it. It's too small. I never heard of the show. So again, yeah, why not? I'll take a chance. It's a day's pay,
Yeah.
it's a day's work. You do not know what things are going to lead to. And the association with that show totally changed my career because
Yeah.
I got more respect, I got better jobs, I got better pay, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
same theme. Take a chance, try it.
Mm-hmm.
Why not?
Yeah, I love bit parts and I love working with people that people don't know. I actually kind of prefer that. But move on to the next question. Now, I have friends who are in their late 40s and they're telling me they're too old for love. They're too old to produce certain types of movies if they're producers. They're too old to work out. I mean, you're 85 from what I read on the internet, and my producer messaged me and said that you're 85. And I said, whoa, I didn't know that. Thanks for telling me. This changes a few things. It does
Hey, I
because
just
age is
turned
wisdom.
86. I just turned 86. You
Happy
know,
birthday.
if you love what you do, you have to keep doing it. I think people who think that they're too old for things are just making a big mistake. Why?
Hmm.
Why? I'm still discovering new things. I'm still learning new things. I'm still having fun. And in some ways, I'm busier and more successful now than I have ever been. I wish I had the career that I had now when I was in my 40s. That would have been nice. But I spent a lifetime of failing, of being
Really?
unknown, of being disrespected, I have felt. Oh, and I'll tell you something funny. It's another theme of my book, actually. All my life, I have been criticized for being too talkative, too outspoken, too blunt about my opinion, too opinionated, right? And I've always
Mhm.
apologized for that.
Mm,
Now, in my 80s, I am being celebrated for those same qualities. My audience, my fans tell me, we love hearing you talk. We love your opinions. We love getting your point of view because at my age, I have failed enough so that I've gotten a lot of wisdom. I have some wisdom. I
mhm,
have some experience. I have something worth sharing with the world, right?
mhm.
So what I want to say to you is, and to your audience, and especially to the people you're talking about, the younger people, do not be imprisoned by other
Right.
people's negative opinions of you. I should not have listened when they said, you're
Mm,
too talkative. I said, yeah, I like to talk, but I've got something worth saying. Live with it. I said I apologize because when you're young, you want to please everybody. Now, I don't care about pleasing anybody except myself
I love that.
because confidence that, as I said before, that I have some wisdom. You can't tell me how to behave, but for all of my life, I apologize for my personality and for my behavior. Not
Mm.
anymore.
One quick question before I go into the book. Did you ever get sore throats by holding back when you were younger? Did you ever get body aches from that? Sometimes I get that because I have to
Interesting.
hold
That's an
back.
interesting question. No, I
Hmm.
didn't because since I was a trained actor, I knew how to use my voice. But I
Okay.
think that people do. I think that people hold back. I think they don't get, I didn't think about it in the throat, but they definitely get digestive problems. I really believe that. I think a lot of the
Hmm.
people who have, what's it called? Flux, what's that thing?
Oh, reflux?
Yes, that
Reflux.
I
Right.
think a lot of that comes from holding back emotionally, holding back
Yeah.
and expressing themselves. I do believe that. I think the
Oh, yeah. I've
body,
gotten sore throats. I wasn't
oh,
allowed to speak on many sets and many jobs, and people have hired me thinking I was 20, but I'm really closer to 40, and they didn't want me to talk, but I'm like you. But anyway, let's go to your
oh,
book. Enough about
interesting. That's
me.
very interesting. That's
Oh
interesting too.
yeah, it caused me a lot of pain in my life, holding back a lot. Yeah.
Wow,
So,
wow.
I try not to, but sometimes you have to. But anyway, your book. All right. So the book. What are some of the main themes of your book?
Well, the ones I just mentioned are really
Hmm.
big ones, which is just say yes. Say yes, why not? Yeah, why not? And do not apologize for being who you are. Those are the main themes. But the book is basically, it's basically a collection of humorous essays. It's sort of expanding what I talk about on TikTok. I talk about what I consider the important things: marriage, dating, parenthood, relationships, friendships. Thrifting is a big thing of mine.
Oh,
Food, restaurants, travel. Uh, and again, when you talk about being yourself, when I started doing TikTok, I talked about thrifting because I've always been a thrifter. I was brought up in a poor family. We never wasted money. I do not shop retail. I get everything at yard sales and thrift stores and estate sales. And I just talked about that because that's the way I've always lived. I did not know that thrifting is now a big thing with younger people, that
yeah.
now the thrift stores are full of these young fashionistas who are looking for vintage. And also, it's an ecological thing because
Hmm.
fast fashion is so bad for the environment. And so that if you recycle all that stuff. So I didn't know, I was just being me. I didn't know that I was touching onto something that other people think about. I think a lot about food. I think a lot about restaurants. I think I've traveled a lot, so I have some stuff to share about travel. So I just talk, I don't talk about politics or religion because I want to be in a place where people are safe and I don't want to provoke any ugliness. There's so much ugliness going on. I can't bear it. I can't bear watching the news at night. So I want to create a place that's a happy place and I want to give encouragement.
Yeah, I think you're doing it. You're definitely doing it. I watched a lot of your videos today and I felt uplifted. I definitely am one of the people that believes that your voice carries a lot of information. That's kind of a woo-woo thought that some psychics talk about, that your voice really tells you and the world who you are. And listening to you, I really felt good. So you're doing it.
Oh, I'm
You know
so
that.
happy to hear that. Oh, and I should mention, I keep forgetting to tell people that because of the TikTok scare, I started, and I should have done this anyway. I've created a YouTube channel, Annie Korzen Videos. And I realize it is a different audience. My TikTok audience, generally, the kids that stop me on the street, I'm shocked. They're in their 20s. They're like they're in college or just out of college. I suspect that the YouTube audience might be a little older. Do you think that that's true?
That's where
People
I'm
that were
watching you. I don't have TikTok. I'm 40.
yeah. And
I don't
so
have
it's going to be a different audience. And so I'm going to have to think about what material I share there.
Oh,
But
the same.
I'm excited about it. I'm excited about it. So if you want,
Yeah.
so I hope everybody will subscribe to it's called Annie Korsen Videos on
Oh, I'm going to
YouTube.
link all of your stuff, your book link, your YouTube. You don't even have to mention it. We're going to put those links right at the
Oh,
bottom.
you're
But for
so
radio,
great.
you know
I
what? For
love
radio
it. Thank you.
right now, why don't you tell the radio people who don't have the link where to find you on YouTube and where to find your book? Let's do that promo right now.
Oh, well, the book is on Amazon. They can
Okay.
just, it's easiest to search me on Amazon just for my name, Annie Corson.
Okay.
Because if
Perfect.
you just say the Book of Annie, it'll take you to Annie the musical. I made a mistake
Okay.
with the title, but it's the Book of Annie, Humor,
Mhm.
Heart, and Chutzpah from an
Mhm.
accidental influencer. That's the book. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Perfect. Perfect. We'll link all that. Now, back to TikTok. How has TikTok changed your life?
Well, first of all, as I said before, uh, I'm no longer apologizing for who I am. I'm really more taking pride in who I am
Mm-hmm.
and announcing who I am without apologizing. And it's been very liberating. And also,
Hmm.
I'm a performer, and as you know, performers love attention. I love attention. I love that I get stopped on the street. I love these comments from these kids who tell me, "You're iconic. You're my queen. I love you. I want to be you when I grow up. Would you be
Uh-huh.
my grandma?" I love all that. And I try as much as I can to respond to the comments. But, I'm getting a lot of love. And that's what you want when you're a performer. You want the applause. And if you're a comedy performer, as I am, you want the laughter. And
Hmm.
so this is fulfilling a lot of, and plus it's led to other things. I think I think I've gotten some jobs because of it. I did a scene in a movie with Jane Fonda, a movie called Moving On. And when the director took me aside to give me notes, he didn't give me notes. He took me aside to say, "Annie, I just need to tell you, I love your story about your grandson on TikTok." So maybe that's
Uh,
why he hired me. I do not know. You
yes,
know,
that's why
it's
I would
hard
hire
to,
people.
things lead to other things. I
Hmm.
just this movie. Did you see this movie, Thelma?
No, should I?
Really adorable movie with June Squibb. It's really adorable. I think it's going to start streaming soon, actually.
Okay.
But I was the youngster. I think maybe finally there's a new interest in older women. I think it started with Betty White, that people want to hear what older women have to say or watch older women in action. June Squibb is 94 and she's starring in this movie. So I
Okay,
was the
I'm gonna check it
youngster. And again, I had a feeling that the director knew me from TikTok. Um, but whatever you do in your life, one thing leads to something else,
out.
right? I just taught a college class and the kids knew me from TikTok, but I teach storytelling, the kind of writing that I do, and it was fun. It's college workshop at Emerson College, where
Hmm.
kids who are getting a degree in the comedy arts. So I'm just having fun. I'm having a ball.
I see that. I love it. So I have a random question for you. This is gonna go in a different direction. I was on the cover of a magazine, Jim Savali, he just died, RIP, and I'm about to do my first stand-up show in years. And Angel Salazar, Chi-Chi, and Scarface, he passed away recently. So I'm going to dedicate my show to both of these guys. I don't really care for
Wait,
the other two.
I had trouble hearing. Say that again. Who is
There's
it that
there's
you
there's two
that?
people who died, right? But my question is really for you. My question is, do you dedicate your career to anyone who's passed, or is there anyone that is no longer with you that you think of when you
Now, my
perform?
book is dedicated. My husband has always been my support.
Okay.
I did a solo show a couple of years ago out in Santa Monica. I think we ran for 4 or 5 months. Benny never missed a show. He's always
Okay.
there. He's in the audience. He always tells me afterwards how good it was. Because sometimes I go, "Oh, I didn't get these. Oh, I didn't like." He said, "What are you talking about? The audience loved you." So he's really my support. Always has been, and my son is too. I'm very fortunate. I have supportive friends and supportive family. But when you talk about people who died,
Mm-hmm.
I have had a lot of loss, obviously, at my age. I've lost
Mm-hmm.
friends, I've lost family, and that is not easy to deal with. But what you're doing is one of the ways to deal with grief is to acknowledge them and celebrate them. And the other way I tell both young people and older people, old people should have young friends and vice versa. My
Mm-hmm.
friend Mackenzie, who was 30 when she put me on TikTok, changed my life. I think it's silly to hang out with your peers. You're not
Yes.
from them. You're not going to learn. I learn from the young people and vice versa. I think it's really important for people to have intergenerational friendships. Now, tell me your story again. You were,
Oh, we could do that off the air. I don't want this to be about
oh,
me. I want this
okay.
to be about you. But I'm happy to share. One of the guys is Angel Salazar. He played Chi-Chi in the movie Scarface. So I did stand up with him. And uh the next show, it would have been nice for him to be there. So I want to dedicate the act to him. And
Of
I
course.
dedicate to Jim Savali, who gave me opportunities and put me on a magazine. But back to you. I really want to get one more question in before we wrap. I want this to
Sure.
be about you. I can talk about myself all day, just like you.
You're very
So,
kind. You're very generous. You're very
no,
generous. I appreciate
thank you.
it.
Well, I get enough attention. So, my last question to you before we close out. What are some things that you feel you must do in this life? Anything you think you
I,
have to do?
I think it's not for me, it's for everybody. I say, they've done studies about what brings happiness, right?
Mhm,
And we all
mhm,
think being rich and being famous, and I would love both of those things. Uh,
mhm.
but I think we have to spend time with people that we love and who love us. I think that's essential. If you don't have that, if you don't get to spend time with people that you love and who love you back, that's not a very full life. And there are
Right?
rich and people who don't do that and they end up as suicides or as,
Yeah,
or as addicts.
right,
Uh,
right.
So I think that's really important. And plus, I think it's important to do work you love. Now, not everyone, now sometimes you have to just pay the rent. You got to do a job. You got to go to a job that you may not love. And I
Yeah,
respect that. But when you come home at night, you could sit down and do your art or write your story or write your poetry or teach your, do you know what I mean? You
yeah,
can still
that's
find time to do what brings you bliss because you got to do what
yes.
brings you bliss. Even if that's just spending time with your dog, spending time with your cat,
Yes.
right?
I make appointments to spend time with my dad's dog, my dog, the family dog, my mom's dog. I make appointments to see the dog because
I
it's
love that
essential.
because
Anyway,
that's
we must
important.
close out. I have another interview in 30 seconds.
Oh my
Annie,
gosh. Oh
it was
well.
so great to have you on. I would love to have you on again. Much success, much admiration. This was great. I love listening to you for a
You
few
asked
hours
all the
today.
questions and good luck with your stand-up. Stand-up, you've got to be really brave. I don't, I'm
Yes.
just, I admire your courage.
You
I
don't do any
admire your courage. I do.
Oh, you do? I thought you did. I was going to say. I was like, yeah, yeah, you have BALLS. We're on the radio too. So on that note, Annie Korzen, check out her book. I'm gonna link all the links here and just to one more time. The book is The Book of Annie, Humor, Heart, and Chutzpah from an Accidental Influencer. And this has been Jennifer Lee Spellman for It Came from the Radio. Back to the studio, Mark Tor.